Lakers Talk is on
710 ESPN.
The Lakers will dribble it out. They're going to win this game by 26, but you know what, Michael? It wasn't even that close.
Hey, you want to rest some guys? You want LeBron to rest a little bit? Why don't you blow out a couple teams every once in a while? And if you could do that, then you could be in a position like this where LeBron only plays 24 minutes.
It's Lakers Talk with Allen Sliwa.
Let's go!
You know, you prepare as if you got to play 48. You know, you let the game dictate the game. So tonight was not needed. It was half of 48 for myself, and I'll take it.
And the Lakers led by as many as 35 and dominated from start to finish.
From the home of the world champs at LA Live, this is Lakers Talk.
Here's Allen Sliwa.
What is going on, Laker fans? What is going on? Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the show. You know, sometimes these opens, you know, Mario Ruiz puts them together. Carlos working, putting some highlights in the back. I get motivated here. I'm ready to get up and challenge a couple of you to a game of 5-on-5. Remember the days where we used to go out and play 5-on-5? I miss those days. Lake fans, appreciate you guys tuning in. We got a packed show tonight. Packed show. Just finished Lakers Talk on 710 ESPN. And then I come on here. This is like the post-game show of Lakers Talk. Okay, let's do this. Now I got people already calling me out saying that they could beat me one-on-one, and everybody's starting to run their mouth here. Okay, everybody now is starting to run their mouth. Okay, so as you can tell, we got all the topics there below. I want to just give you guys my overall feelings on where the Lakers stand right now. Okay, and then I'll read off some of your comments as the show progresses. So my advice to you is don't tell me how you feel about the Lakers show yet, or about how the Lakers are doing at this point, until I'm done and I start reading the comments, so then I can actually read your comments. Laker fans, I like the spot that we're in. I mean, I don't know what more you guys want me to tell you, but I feel great of where the Lakers are sitting right now. Okay, they lost 5 of 6 games, then they lost 4 games in a row. You know, Anthony Davis has missed 32% of the season so far. He's missed 12 of 35 games. I did the math. Took me like a half hour. But I carried the one. I did everything that I needed to do. 32% of the Laker games so far, Anthony Davis has missed. It was the shortest offseason in the history of the NBA. Obviously, the NBA wasn't too worried about that. They were trying to run their business and run their corporation. NBA started December 22nd. It was irrelevant when the Lakers finished. I think Lakers finished, October 12th, something along those lines. Factor all these in. Factor the quick turnaround, Anthony Davis missing these games. Dennis Schroder goes out for 4 games. You lose 4 games in a row, 5 of 6, all that. Put all that into play. Who has the second best record in the NBA right now? The freaking Lakers. The Lakers do. So, you know, I know we got 2 more games left before the All-Star break. And I cannot tell you how much I'm hoping Lakers handle business on Tuesday against the Suns, handle business on Wednesday against the Sacramento Kings. But, man, at this point of the season, to have the second best record in the NBA after all the kind of some of the things I listed down, I feel good right now, Laker fans. I really, really do. And by the way, this is somebody who has said repeatedly that because we're in February, these games are not now in March. These games are not overly critical. Don't pay too much attention to the NBA standings. I'm the one that's been saying that. So, you know, I also want to emphasize that having the second best record in the NBA is not a make it or break it for the Lakers, but I think it just kind of tells a little bit of a story. I think it tells a story to a point, right? Like I do think it kind of gauges things of, with everything in mind, it's the Utah Jazz and then the Lakers. Now, don't get me wrong. Go look at the NBA standings. Clippers are right there. Phoenix is only a game and a half behind the Lakers. Take the Eastern Conference and go look at where Philly is, Milwaukee is, Brooklyn is. Everybody's close. You go on a 3-game losing streak. you can drop a ton of spots in the NBA. But I do think it says something. I think it says something to these last 2 games for the Lakers, taking care of Portland, taking care of the Golden State Warriors, playing as good as defense as the Lakers did. Lakers gave up 93 points against Portland. They gave up 91 points against the Golden State Warriors, still the number 1 defensive rating team in the NBA. So I think you got a lot to be excited about if you're a Laker fan. Of course, health is going to be everything. If Anthony Davis isn't 100% for the playoffs or as close to 100% as possible, or if he misses significant time, yeah, you're probably not going to win an NBA championship. But you could say that about any contender, that if they don't have, one of their best players, your chances of winning a chip obviously drastically change. So we'll see how things play out. Personally, I feel pretty damn good where the Lakers are. Let me read some of these comments now. God knows what the people are saying. Sometimes I have to not look at the chats because you guys are all over the place. You know what I mean? Sometimes you distract me. So it's almost as if I'm at the game and I'm playing and there's chirping going on around me, but I got to stay focused. Anakem Mohan says, we got to grab a Pelicans jersey. Our Pelicans beat the Jazz earlier today. How about Jazz? What a Jazz lost. Am I right or wrong on this, that the Jazz have lost 3 or 4 games? Let me double check here. They go to a small website, startup company, ESPN. You heard of them? All right, 1 second here. They lost. So basically the Jazz, after beating the Lakers, have lost 2 or 3. Okay, 2 or 3. They lost to Miami. They lost to New Orleans. They beat Orlando in the middle of that. Okay, let me read a couple more here. I don't know what you guys are talking about in all these comments. Somebody's saying we need Andre Drummond. Not arguing with that one. Andre Drummond's a big piece. By the way, if Lakers got Andre Drummond, start sizing up the rings again. Just start sizing them up. Don't even bother coming to play in May. But that's going to be a tough putt. We'll see if Lakers can make that happen. So let me read some of your guys' comments here. All right, Adrian Steve Vasquez on Periscope. I've been telling everyone to chill. I knew this team would get it together. Here's the thing. It's not even about getting anything together. It's just about having Dennis Schroder, at least your 3rd best player, back in the lineup. Now, are you going to go be like, I'm going to use tomorrow as a good example. Tomorrow's a tough game. Phoenix, that game means a lot to the Phoenix Suns tomorrow. Of course, you want Anthony Davis there. But if AD and Dennis Schroder are both missing, you don't got a shot to win that game. Dennis Schroder is playing. Okay, now you're in the mix. It's almost like those 4 games that the Lakers played without Dennis Schroder. If Dennis Schroder was playing in those 4 games, fine. Give Brooklyn the W. Give Utah the W. Lakers are beating Miami, and they're beating Washington at Staples Center. You go 2-2. It'd be less doom and gloom. Julio Ortiz says Lakers need to sign Sliwa to a 10-day contract for another Laker player. I won't name off that other Laker player. Here's the thing. My agent is looking at all options right now. And, we're just playing every day, and we're just going to see what happens. It's about us just working. We can only control what we can control. So we'll see what happens. I tried to be as much of a generic interview as can be. All right, let me read a couple more of these off. Anthony Keene on Periscope. What are some trade deadline scenarios? I'll tell you this. You could add another player to the mix. It looks like Victor Oladipo is not signing that extension with Houston. So he's going to try and go get, a bigger deal. But that could also mean for Houston, that could be a trigger for them to say, okay, let's go shop Oladipo by the trade deadline. And, they're rebuilding, so it's not like, why are you even going to have Victor Oladipo? You might as well go get some picks for him or whatever the case is, an expiring contract, which he's an expiring contract anyways. So that could be another player that's in the mix. I'm not saying that's a player that's coming to the Lakers. I'm just saying that you can add to the Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin. There's some players out there that are going to be available, and this is a very interesting 30 days for the NBA. Think about the NBA. How good is the NBA? The freaking trade deadline is treated as if when a trade goes down in the NBA, social media and Twitter just blows up. During the offseason, when a free agent signs, it blows up. I don't think any other sport is that active in the offseason and in the trade deadline where it's that exciting. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Infinite on YouTube says, concerned about Matthews and KCP moving forward. Let me tell you this. The only thing I'd be concerned about with all the Lakers role players is what played out when Schroder and AD were out, and they're asked to have roles that, to be honest with you, I have no confidence that they can fulfill. Our role players are good when they're not expected to do much, right? When their roles are less. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. It's just that's what role players are. LeBron and Anthony Davis are obviously one tier. Montrez and Dennis Schroder are another tier. And then there are the rest of the role players. When you're asking these other role players to be Montrez or Schroder night in, night out, I don't think they could do it. Just like Schroder and Montrez can't be LeBron or AD every night. They just can't. So that's the reality there. All right, Jameson Mez on YouTube. Loving how the Lakers are rounding to shape. I'm telling you right now, all they got to do is just be healthy. And I'm not making the argument that the Lakers have a perfect team, because I've already argued they need a rim protector and it'd be nice to get a 3-and-D guy with those 2 roster spots that they have. So it's not a perfect team. But not being bored and health are going to be the 2 biggest obstacles that the Lakers have getting to the playoffs. I mean, January, the Lakers were bored. They were going to overtime against teams they shouldn't have been going to overtime. Maybe that was February. I don't even remember at this point. But that's the only time, I feel like the Lakers are in danger is when they're not interested or you got injuries. Let's see what else we got here. Aniket Mohan, Sliwa is associated with Clutch Sports. I'm in between agents right now. I'm in between. So I prefer not talking about it right now. I prefer it. And then we got Zen Hamir, add Sliwa on the trading block. It's not right, bro. It's not right, man. How quick you're ready to ship me out. How quick. All right, let's move on here real quick. Okay, this is what I want to get into. Dennis Schroder, his impact. So this actually ties in. Somebody's pointing out a really good article on ESPN.com. ESPN.com. It's a sports website. Just started. To be honest with you, I don't know if they're going to go anywhere, but they're just up and coming. Okay, so Windhorst and Bobby Marks had this article out on ESPN earlier today talking about the luxury tax that the Lakers could potentially be in for next season. All right, so this is going to kind of all tie into my point with Dennis Schroder. Schroder, we know his impact. I think he's the 3rd most important player on this Lakers roster because he brings something so unique to the roster. LeBron and Anthony Davis, they're in their own world. But Dennis Schroder, those 4 games that he missed, I don't think it's a coincidence that the Lakers went 0-4. Of course, if Anthony Davis is playing, different story. Lakers probably go 3-1. But if Anthony Davis is not in the game, Dennis Schroder is such a key piece. He puts pressure on defenses. He can get to the basket. He create for his own. For the love of God, he can actually play and give LeBron a little bit of a rest, and the Lakers still have some sort of an offense, and he could be a quarterback for the Lakers. So we know Dennis Schroder's impact. These last 2 wins for the Lakers, you could see how much of an impact he was for the Lake Show. So obviously having him back is key. Let's keep an eye on the ball here. 2 more games before the All-Star break. Let's see if Lakers can finish this thing off 4-0. So the reason why I bring up Dennis Schroder is because should the Lakers try to sign him during the season? Should the Lakers try to lock him up now? And this article that Brian Windhorst, Bobby Marks had on ESPN talked about how the Lakers got kind of a lot of decisions to make here. But in the offseason, not right now. They don't have to make a decision on Dennis Schroder right now. They can roll the dice and say, look, we just want to worry about this season. We're still trying to figure out what to do with the roster already, what happens in the trade deadline, what happens in the buyout market. Let's play out through the playoffs, see how he performs in the playoffs. And listen, if he balls out and plays great and now his stock is really high and you got to kind of overpay him to keep him, well, it is what it is. You won a championship and you got to kind of pay to play, then you pay to play. Dennis Schroeder's worth it. He's only 27 years old. He'll turn 28 by the time next season starts. He's walking into his prime. What they say, prime is 28 to 32. LeBron is at 36, and he still looks like he's in his prime. So with all that being said, the question mark, I got you. Somebody wants a couple of fist bumps here. I got you guys right there. Question is how much do you think Dennis Schroder, how much is he worth per year? Let me throw a couple names at you. Bogdan Bogdanović went to Atlanta, 4 years, $72 million. Fred VanVleet, 4 years, $85 million. But VanVleet, I think, has a bigger role with the Raptors than Dennis Schroder has with the Lakers. DeJounte Murray, 4 years, $64 million with San Antonio. Schroeder is already making $15.5 million. He's not obviously going to make less than that. I wouldn't be surprised Schroeder gets right in that $20 million range. $18 to $20 million a year. Why would he make less? That's not going to happen. He's only getting more experience and is going into the prime of his career. And I think he's certainly showing his impact. All right, let me see what people are saying here. David Sabatini on YouTube. No, wait for the offseason. David already said that. I almost read it twice. Herman, California on YouTube. I disagree. Sign him now. Matt Riggs, $11 million a year. He ain't getting paid $11 million. I'll tell you that much. Southside General just has a fist up. Levi Jose, $18 million a year. I will tell you, whether it's with the Lakers or it's not, he's going to be making more than he's making now. And that's $18 million a year. That's $20 million a year. I don't know what that number is, but I don't see him losing value from this season. I only see him gaining value, and he's doing it on a big stage with the Lakers. Now the playoffs can have a lot to play with it. I'm almost in a position right now where I'm like, yes, the Lakers can sign him right now, but I'm okay if they wait till the offseason. I am. Don't you feel like you just want them to worry about winning a championship this year? In my opinion, that's my concern, is making sure that they put themselves in a great position to win it this year. You guys realize if Lakers won again this year, they'll have won 2 championships in LeBron's 3 years here. They'll have won 2 championships in AD's first 2 years. They'll have passed the Boston Celtics, most championships in NBA history. It's a big year, and LeBron's only getting older. So I'm not saying Lakers can't do more things. They could focus on this season and they could also focus on next season at the same time. I'm not saying that they can't do that, but I almost feel like worrying about this year and kind of letting things play out a little bit is not a bad idea. Improving this year's roster, finishing out this season, in my opinion, I think that's probably going to be the priority. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's see what he's got here. See what all Laker fans are saying here. Michael James, 3 years, $60 million. Okay, I could see that. $20 million a year, but for less years. Lock him up. John Dowling on YouTube. Oniket, if Dennis wants the contract now, they need to discuss it. We'll see how it plays out. Yeah, his contract is up at the end of this year. So there's a lot to do. I thought that contract, Alex Caruso they'll have to figure out in the offseason. Taylor Horton-Tucker they'll have to figure out in the offseason. There's a lot of players they're going to have to figure out. And Lakers will have to pay this crazy, crazy luxury tax if they re-sign all these guys and let's say give, Dennis Schroder, who knows what Montrezl Harrell, if he decides he has a player option. So things could change next year. But I'm not, I'm almost like, why worry about next season now? Lakers are in a great spot right now to, obviously compete for a championship. It's tough for me to think that far ahead. Okay, let's do some roll call. Let's go. Where are you guys tuning in from? Somebody else saying, I got it. KO says, I got to see in the playoffs, as in if he performs in the playoffs. Kingman 310 on Periscope. Let's see how he can handle playoff pressure. So I think there's a lot of Laker fans out there that are okay with waiting as well. Okay. Before I start reading some of these roll calls, you guys know how to follow us. All the platforms there. At ESPN Los Angeles, at Allen Sliwa. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. So I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Okay. Ohio. Thank you for tuning in. Anaheim. Ball Arena. Finally, we get Ball Arena. It used to be Pepsi Center, for those who don't know. Encinitas, California. How great is Encinitas? Encinitas. What a fantastic spot. Singapore in the house. Rochester, New York. Kazakhstan. Ohio. Cal State, Fullerton. Somebody's at the Smoothie King Center. Hey, I don't blame you. Tonight, you beat the Utah Jazz. The Bay Area in the house. Thank you for tuning in. Lake Forest, California. Lakewood. Somebody likes the jacket. I appreciate that. It's my go-to Lakers jacket when I'm doing a show here. Bend, Oregon. Bourbon, California. Sydney in the house. Thank you for tuning in. And then I got Jeremy Pena that's saying Echo Park waiting. Come on, Jeremy, don't do this tonight, bro. Please, I beg you, don't do this tonight. Because you know what happens, Jeremy, when I get called out to Echo Park? I bring my lopsided basketball that's been in the back of my trunk for at least a year and a half now. That's probably a little bit flat, and I should have got rid of a year and a half ago. I bring that out there. And then I stretch for 45 minutes. And then I run some wind sprints. Then I shoot a couple baskets, and then I'm probably gassed from there. I'm probably too tired, and I call it a night. But I appreciate the invite. Manhattan Beach in the house. Thank you for tuning in. Monterey. What a great spot in California. Everybody calling me out for Echo Park. What's going on here? Laker fans? It's an off night. Relax. Norwalk, thank you for tuning in. Iowa. Who did I miss here? Boulder, California. Rose Bowl, Pomona, California. Torrance. Somebody literally gives me their address. I don't need your full address. I don't need it. Just the Torrance part is good to go. Lancaster, California. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Buena Park, Houston, Texas, Boulder, Colorado, Yosemite, Maryland, all of you. Appreciate you tuning in. If I miss you, Los Santos, Grove Street, keep chiming in. I'll make sure to get you guys. Look what Lake fans are like. Lake fans are literally everywhere. Orchard View Apartments, giving me their actual apartments. Tustin in the house. All right. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Appreciate you tuning in. Chicago in the house. Okay, Manila, Philippines. All right, I want to go on. Let me move on to the next topic here real quick. Thank you all for being a part of the show, by the way. Damian Jones. Can we talk about Damian Jones for a quick second? So this dude got a quick opportunity yesterday. Glendale in the house as well. Guys, I don't need your full address, okay? I don't need your full address. Just the city that you're tuning in from. That's all I need. All right? And people pulling everything there. Arkansas, appreciate you tuning in. Chile, West Covina, Costa Rica in the house. Damian Jones yesterday comes in, plays for the Lakers. By the way, I think he's we got the injury report earlier today. Let me actually take a look at it because I think they're listing him as day-to-day. He's got looks like a back strain. Let me see what they got him as. Damian Jones, lower back strain is questionable for tomorrow. How about this guy? Gets this opportunity. 8 minutes, 8 points, 3 of 3 from the field, couple block shots, really nice block shots. Listen, it's just a 10-day contract. And I don't know what's going to happen with him, but what a great first showing for this kid. What a great opportunity for him that he took advantage of in a game where the Lakers had a blowout and he could get some run. He could get some playing time. We'll see if he goes tomorrow. You know, maybe with this back strain, he's not able to go in these next 2 games, but we'll have to wait and see. But what a great start for him. I got some Laker fans telling me, oh, we got our guy. We got our rim protector. Don't even bother getting somebody else. I think the Lakers will shoot for the stars. I think they'll certainly go if they could find another player that they think more of a veteran, been there for a while, can fulfill that need, then I think they'll, shoot for the stars, swing for the fences, and see if they could grab somebody like that. But he was a what a great pool yesterday for him to showcase his skill set. And he didn't look that bad. He really didn't. Levi Jose on YouTube says he needs a little bit more muscle. I will say this, dude's a high flyer. I mean, you throw the ball anywhere around the basket. A lot of people have talked about JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. Now, there's a big difference between those players and Damian Jones. The difference is they are vets in the NBA, been around for a long time, understand defenses, understand the game of basketball, have been in tough playoff games, have won NBA championships. So, big difference. But I thought he had a nice showing yesterday. Highland Park, appreciate you tuning in. All right, let me see what other people are saying. Give him another 10-day, then go from there. That's Big Willard on YouTube. That's probably going to happen. I think that's probably going to happen where he'll get another opportunity. Anthony Davis is still going to be out after the All-Star break, at least initially. We'll see how much longer he's going to be out for. And he might, be in a position where he'll get a true opportunity to see what he can do. KO on YouTube, good point. We're not asking him to do too much. That's absolutely right. Melo is killing LaMelo on national TV. What's the score of that game? Take a look here, guys. Ah, 120 to 105, Portland. Okay, let me read a couple more of these. Damian Jones is like Hassan Whiteside. He's a walking dunk machine. Damian Jones is a good insurance policy. Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. If all else fails and you can get a guy like Damian Jones, then you got somebody that you can put in as that rim protector off the bench, which is 10 to 15 minutes a game, which many Laker fans have said since the season started that that's a position they think needs to be filled, and I don't disagree with that. Herman, California, so far Damian earning a spot on the roster. We'll have to see a lot more. By the way, quick shout out, Power Pro Plumbing, Heating and Air, local company. So I know we got people tuned in from everywhere, but if you're out here in Southern California, you got a plumbing issue, powerproplumbing.com. Heater, air conditioning, you need to change your water heater out, whatever the case is, powerproplumbing.com. We appreciate their partnership. This helps us do shows like this on the social front. So show them some love. Proud partner, big Laker fan, as big of a Laker fan as you're going to engage with. And like I said, local company, been taking care of 710 ESPN listeners for years. We appreciate their partnership. Okay. I got this one here real quick. Jamaica, thank you for tuning in. Somebody says Power Pro Arena. Yeah, maybe they got a sponsorship here on one of these arenas. This is a good conversation. So I want to get your guys' thoughts here. You guys heard from Kyrie Irving. So Kyrie Irving had a post last week, and it was a silhouette of Kobe as the logo. And it said, "Gotta happen. I don't care what anyone says. Black Kings built the league." And, Kyrie obviously pushing to try to see if the logo would change, and obviously wants to remember Kobe Bryant and have him as the logo. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Let me say this real quick. I think there's no right or wrong answer. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. And I mentioned this yesterday to Michael Thompson. And, I love getting Michael's opinion on things like this. I love getting Michael's opinion, period, because, he's obviously almost 30 years older than me, has lived a completely different experience in his life. And I'm not talking about just the NBA, but when we're talking about the NBA, Michael's able to talk about Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain and even guys like Kareem that I didn't, get to really truly watch and appreciate when he was at UCLA or even winning his championships with the Lakers. There are greats. Bill Russell, that Michael said that he thought changing the logo would, in a sense, be disrespectful to Jerry West. And if you're going to change the logo, then Bill Russell's got the most championships in NBA history, or Michael Jordan's considered to be the greatest of all time. Why wouldn't you change it to one of those players? So let me first say, I don't mean any disrespect to any of the old players. I don't mean any disrespect to Jerry West or anything like that. I think Jerry West has been the logo since 1969. That's over 50 years that he's been the logo. I think that's the case. I think they started in 1969. So what I would say is this. I don't think Kyrie Irving is bringing this up for nothing. I think he thinks that the players that are in today's NBA view Kobe Bryant as their Michael Jordan, right? That's the player. Kobe's the player they all looked up to. Kobe was the player that they were trying to be when they were working their way up as kids and getting into the AAU programs and into high school and into college. They were striving to be Kobe. And that's not to say that that's nothing against Michael. It's just like that's their guy in their era. And that's what happens in these specific eras. I don't think this is a conversation just about how many championships you won. I don't think this is a conversation about who's considered the greatest of all time. I think this is a conversation about not only one of the greatest to ever play the game, not only gave 20 years to the game, not only won 5 NBA championships, and everybody kind of, that Mamba mentality that everybody always refers to. I think this also has to do with Kobe Bryant. We lost Kobe at age 41 to a tragic accident. And I think it's a way to commemorate him. I think it's a way to remember him. And I think that's why there are certain players that have pushed for this, that it's more than just what you did on the court, even though what he did on the court was amazing. So I would just say this. I don't think it's disrespect to a different generation of players. I don't think it's disrespect to what other players have accomplished. I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but I also think it has a lot to do with what a way to remember one of the greats who passed in an incredibly tragic way, along with 8 other people, including his daughter. I think it would be amazing. That's my opinion. That's my personal opinion on it's okay to change a logo 50 years later. And the reason why they would be changing it has more to do with just what was on the basketball floor. So that's my opinion right there. Let me read off a couple of these comments here. All right. By the way, I think there's a lot of people that have their own opinion on this. And like I said, there's no wrong answer. I really don't feel like there's a wrong answer. I think you can give your opinion, and your opinion is your opinion. Mrs. O on YouTube. Yes, make Kobe the logo. North Hollywood, thank you for tuning in. A lot of people saying that why listen to Kyrie's opinion? A lot of people not crazy about Kyrie's opinion. Lakers Wisdom on YouTube. Can't go wrong with a Kobe logo. Herman, California on YouTube. Yes, change logo. What a great way to honor Kobe. Too much controversy, says somebody else. I got Brown Phillip on YouTube. Time to switch it up. Let me see if anybody's is looking at it the other way. Dan Inspiration. No respect to Kyrie, but keep Jerry as the logo. Rodney Anderson. The NBA says that the logo is not Jerry West. So it technically was not supposed to be a player when they put the logo together. This is what I was reading into. But the guy that did the silhouette of the NBA logo admitted that he used a photo of Jerry West. And his nickname is The Logo. And Jerry West had this interview back in 2017 where he said that he's uncomfortable that he's the logo, but he's also incredibly humble, and that's just who he is. Jason Lewis, Kareem's hook would be fire. Let's see what else we got here. All right. We got a lot of comments here. I think we hit enough on this one. Phil Kinbuku on Facebook. I agree. Great way to honor Kobe. A lot of people giving love to the late great Kobe Bryant. Okay. O.C. O'Neal, keep Jerry as a legend. Philip Banks, named the All-Star trophy after Kobe. I think it already is. Okay, let's keep moving on here. Alex Trin, I clock into work 8:24. Very nice. Good for you. Let's keep moving here. Lakers versus the Suns tomorrow. By the way, appreciate the interaction. Appreciate all the comments. If I don't read them all, my apologies. We got a lot that come in. Okay, so Lakers Suns tomorrow. This is a dogfight tomorrow. Is it just me, or do I think that this is such a big game for the Phoenix Suns? Like, I feel like the Suns are coming in tomorrow's game looking for blood. This is an incredibly important game to the Suns, and I say that because they're a game and a half in the NBA standings behind the Lakers. So Lakers 24-11. Phoenix 22-11. No, they're one game behind the Lakers. So, they can technically move into the number 2 spot. I don't know who Clippers got tomorrow. They're a half game behind the Clippers. But let's just say this. They're in a great position, and they, smell blood in the water with Anthony Davis not being there. They're playing great basketball. They're one of the hottest teams right now. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. Chris Paul is one of the best leaders that the NBA has. Devin Booker is an absolute baller. DeAndre Ayton is playing some good basketball. This is an important game for the Suns. Now, I just explained it from the Suns' perspective because I feel like it's very important to them. Now, from a Lakers perspective, because this game means so much to Phoenix, Lakers are going to be ready tomorrow. And they know that they can't kind of come in and take the Suns lightly or anything along those lines. I think the Lakers will be ready tomorrow. I really do. I think this is going to be an incredibly entertaining game. Could go both ways. I can't tell you how excited I am that Dennis Schroder is freaking playing in this game because they need him, obviously. So it's going to be a tough battle against Phoenix. So I'm looking forward to the game, and I do think that it would mean so much to the Lakers to finish off these last 2 games. Second best record in the NBA, 4-game winning streak, and handle business against Phoenix and Sacramento. Michael and I were talking about this in the pregame show. Mentally for the Lakers, he thinks the game that's going to be tougher is the game against Sacramento because they'll be back-to-back. You'll fly to Sacramento tomorrow night after the game. And then, you're already mentally thinking about the break of Sacramento's been struggling. They've lost 10 of 11 games. You heard maybe Luke Walton's job could be in jeopardy. Yesterday, they blew a lead. So Lakers can be unprepared for that game. And mentally, you're thinking about this All-Star break where you get basically a week off, that could be the tough matchup. But I just think tomorrow, Lakers Suns, that's going to be a great matchup. And I really, really do feel Phoenix. It's an important game for Phoenix. All right, let's read a couple comments here. Sliwa for new ESPN logo. The stock would plummet. They would plummet. It would just do so bad for the company. I see what else we got here. We smacked them in the preseason. Preseason AD went off. AD is not playing. Let's see what else we got here. Basically, a lot of people think that tomorrow's going to be a good game. Okay, you got some questions. You got some comments. Put them in right now, and then we're going to get the hell out of here because the show's got to end at some point, and I got to go home at some point. So, any questions you got? Tebwin in Florida is tuning in, and he also has 74 fire emojis to get my attention. But if you got some questions, throw the questions in right now. Okay, read off a couple of these. Sen Hamir thinks it's going to be a blowout tomorrow. Somebody's saying they're sick, but they're still here for the show. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. I don't know if the show made you sick or you were sick prior. I don't have the answer for you. Tomorrow could be a tough one. RV14. Tomorrow could be a tough one for Marcus. It will be a tough one. DeAndre Ayton's a good player. I was watching some highlights. Was it Karl Anthony Towns? Who was that yesterday? Did Phoenix play Minnesota? I think Phoenix played Minnesota. It was Karl Anthony Towns and DeAndre Ayton. It was just two old school bigs going at it. You don't see that much in the NBA anymore. All right, question from Laz Cabaza on YouTube. Teams chasing after Caruso next season? Probably. I'm sure teams will be coming after Caruso. Teams will be coming after Talen Horton-Tucker. Teams will be coming after Markieff Morris. Definitely. Why not? We'll see what the Lakers end up doing. But I think right now it's so tough to worry about next season. It really is. It's so tough to worry about next season simply because we're in the middle of this battle. The Lakers are in the middle of this battle right now that it's just not important at the moment. Great question here. Levy Jose says, Celtics versus Clippers tomorrow. Who you got? Where are you guys on this? When the Celtics play the Clippers, who do you root for? This one's easy for me. Who do you guys root for? When it's Clippers are playing the Celtics tomorrow, who would you root for in that game, knowing that, of course, you never cheer for the Celtics, but then you got the Clippers here, and they're in the Western Conference. Who do you cheer for? This one's easy for me. I want to see what people respond with first, and then I'll give my opinion. Mrs. O says she cheer for the Celtics. Okay, give me a second here. Alex Caruso Jr. says he cheer for the Clippers. Levy says neither. Can't be neither. Got to pick one. Alex Trin, Celtics Nation. Dan Inspiration, Celtics. Straightway Georgia Elder Rufus on YouTube, Clippers. Digital 7 Media, Boston always must. Basically asking them to lose. Bahu Brady on Facebook, Celtics. Laker fans, listen closely to me. I got the answer for you, and I could justify the whole thing. Okay? I know you never cheer for the Celtics. I get that. I'm very aware of that, and I understand that. But right now, you got to worry about the Lakers day-to-day. The Celtics are in the Eastern Conference. You could root against the Celtics in every other game. But the Lakers and the Clippers are going back and forth. They're separated by a half a game. There's no messing around here. You're 100%. You're not rooting for the Celtics to win, but you're rooting for the Clippers to lose. Okay? So that's the way that I like to put it. Great question to be brought up. I appreciate you bringing it up. but this one's a no-brainer to me. I am rooting for the Clippers to lose more than I am rooting for the Celtics to lose. Got to worry about our day-to-day. Our day-to-day, the Clippers are right there. Celtics are less of a threat than the Clippers. That's a good comment right there. Anthony Keene, it's a lose-lose. Somebody hopes they go into overtime. No, I think for the Lakers, honestly, just worrying about the Lakers. You're hoping Celtics win that game tomorrow. I got people telling me they're not going to watch the game. Somebody, Sonny Foster, saying it's his birthday. Is this the new thing now? We're all going to be cheering for birthday wishes. Okay. Let me see if I could read one more. If there's one more good one, we're calling it a night after this. We really need Utah to lose. Okay, this is the last one I got here. Samurai Beast Warrior. Okay. Let me just say this about the Utah Jazz. They've lost 2 of their last 3 games. Utah's going for the number 1 seed. No question about it. They're going for the number 1 seed. You can have a scenario play out where Utah doesn't have to face the Lakers or the Clippers in the second round. Let me give you guys the standings real quick, because I'm just actually curious after Lakers and Clippers. So if the playoffs started right now, Lakers would have Jesus. Listen to this. If the playoffs started right now, Lakers would have Denver in round 1, Clippers in the second round, Utah in the third round in the Western Conference Finals, and then it'd be the NBA Finals against probably Brooklyn. So let's just say you would definitely be earning it this season. But Utah's going to try everything they can to hold on to that number 1 seed, because they probably figure if Lakers and the Clippers end up at 2-3, then they could technically avoid the Lakers or the Clippers until the Western Conference Finals, where you'd have the Lakers and the Clippers facing each other in the second round. So I don't think the Lakers will catch Utah, because I think Utah is going to play the regular season as if it's the playoffs, and I don't think the Lakers will play it that way. So you could very easily have Utah end up with the number 1 seed, but I don't think that's the best team in the Western Conference. No one beating Lakers in 7. That's a tough stretch I'm getting here. Jason Lewis, I don't like the Clippers. Okay, so that's where we are. Everyone likes the Nets. Prisoners of the moment, Allen. Nope. Phil 413. I will tell you, I'm not a prisoner of the moment. I really think Brooklyn will represent the Eastern Conference when it's all said and done. And I've already listed my reasons why in the past. Tomorrow, Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. Pregame at 5:30. Tip-off at 7 o'clock. 5 a.m. we'll start all the shows here on 710 ESPN. So you can tune in at 5 a.m. Keyshawn, J. Will, Zubin, and Travis. And then as the show progresses, or as all the shows progress, like I mentioned, pregame show will start at 5:30, tip-off at 7 o'clock. Laker fans, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the show, as always. Subscribe to the channel, follow us on all our platforms, and thank you for taking the time and listening to the show. I mean, I probably got annoying 5-10 minutes in, but thank you for doing this. Have a good rest of your night.